right, we're here at Image Expo 2014. Scott Snyder, secret surprise announcement. You have a new book with Jock. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled. Thanks for having me, too, by the way. It's always great to be on Comic Vine with you.
Always.
It's good to see you in person, dude.
Yeah.
I always feel like it's, not in San Francisco much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You should come over later now.
Seriously. My thinking was, honestly, I had this idea for a book that would reinvent what witches are for me, reimagine them as something a lot darker and scarier than I've seen before. And I love doing that, with vampires and American Vampire and with, Creature from the Black Lagoon or Mermaids in the Wake. So for this, it became about, why hasn't there been something done where witches are genuinely scary? Not sort of sorceresses or enchantresses or anything like that. I mean, same way to me, I totally respect that stuff, the way I respect like Twilight and vampire stuff that has vampires as romantic, but this is the opposite. This is meant to be sort of their bestial, terrifying androgynous creatures, and we don't understand sort of the origin of them. And all of the kind of human people that we've thought of as witches are actually sort of the people that worship those creatures. And in that way, they're very elusive. No one's ever taken a picture, and they live, deep in the woods, and I won't give away sort of how they act and what they do beyond that they're cannibalistic. But they have incredible abilities that are not necessarily supernatural. I like to base everything in kind of a, whatever science I can sort of almost get off the rails into like pseudoscience, but is almost, almost real. So it's really my take on what if these things really exist and are out there and are much scarier than anything that we've ever encountered. And it focuses on a young father who moves his daughter back to a town that his wife is from because she sees her best friend suffer a very traumatic thing in the woods. And so that's kind of the beginning of it. And I'm really happy with it. And Jock is going to town, and he's like an old friend, obviously. Jock is like one of my best friends, and I love working with him. So I'm really excited, I'm really excited about it. And to be able to branch out a little bit, I love Vertigo dearly, and I still have 2 series at Vertigo. But to get to do something also that's kind of outside of that rubric, and to meet new writers and artists like I never really met, I had met Matt Fraction and Kelly Sue, but to get to know them and to get to know Jonathan and, it's really fun to be a part of something that feels exciting and vibrant, just as much as Vertigo is exciting and vibrant, but to do something that's, that I own, that's different, that's my own thing with Jock, and that has no one looking over it at all, like no oversight, no sales expectations, it's just us. And that's the fun. It's just friends making a comic they like together, So that's the whole pitch.
When's it coming out?
September. So we wanted to do July, but I think we might still do July, but I think the thing is that with the way the line is, there are a lot of books lined up for the summer for Image, so we wanted to do it when maybe there's a little more room. So I think it'll probably be September right before Halloween.
Yeah, that could be good in fall and everything.
Yeah.
How many issues?
Well, we're going to do it as an ongoing, but the idea is to do it in arcs. So sort of the way Saga does, a certain set of issues and then takes time off. That's our hope, is to be able to do, the first arc, take a breather where we can both kind of catch our breath and do what we have to do in other projects, and then come back and do another one pretty regularly and set up a schedule where it's not sporadic, but it gives us a very finite break in between each one that we enjoy. So
now, this is the first we're hearing about this. How long have you had this idea? How long have you been working, biting your tongue, not letting it slip to anyone?
For a while. Honestly, Jock and I have been talking about it for a couple of years, like doing a book together. And the idea itself I've had for, I guess, just about over a year, where I remember a friend of mine was talking about having visited Salem and how fascinating it was. And it was fascinating, but it was also like, really, they don't sound that scary. The witches, they're sort of, they worship the devil and so on, but what's really their powers? And then I started thinking, like, what if they're really scary with these kind of long, hairy arms, and you're in bed, and the hand comes up over and puts its fingers in your mouth, and you look up the chimney, and you see a face looking back, and what if they live in the woods? And I just really got carried away with this kind of design aspect to them. Well, what if they look this way? And this look of them is really, really scary. Like, they look different than what you'd expect a witch to look like. And they're not necessarily all female either. So, we really wanted to do something that hopefully will get you saying, I've never thought of witches that way. It's completely a new take on what they could be. And it's the whole point of the book is to just be completely as twisted and scary as we can imagine. That's the thing I think we have to offer Image that might be different, because The Walking Dead, to me, is such a great horror book, and outside of that, they do horror, we did Severed. I did that with my friend Scott, but I think maybe what we could give them right now is sort of the blackest, most twisted horror, that we can come up with as kind of a thing that would create, I guess, or be something that maybe isn't being done right now in the landscape, in that way, that I know of right now. So that was what I told Eric. I was like, he was like, well, what do you want to do? Because he gave me the option to do any book, and I'm like, I'd like to do this one. It's horror, and he's like, well, what do you have to do with it? And I'm like, just terrify people. That's it. Like, just terrorize you so that you're like, I can't believe this guy has kids. Like, I can't believe this guy writes Superman. I can't believe this guy, goes to soccer games or whatever. And that's really the goal. We want you to open it and read the first 10 pages and be like, they went there. You know what I mean? And that's really what I want to do. And not to be shocking. It's not Grindhouse. It's terror. It's not like sensational. And Jock's really bringing it. I mean, his art's perfect for it, where, that scratchy, really kind of destabilized angles, the odd colors, all of that stuff is right there. So I'm really excited about it.
All right, last question. Why the why in a title?
Well, I mean, I was thinking about it. I almost just called it Wytches with an I, and then maybe I should. I don't know. Maybe I should have. But the thinking was, the two reasons were, one, I love Roald Dahl's Wytches. It's one of my favorite books. I love also, if you don't read Roald Dahl's adult stories, they're amazing, like his short stories. And I felt almost like maybe it was an irrational worry, but I didn't want people to think we were somehow redoing the book or playing off of that. But secondarily, our version of Wytches, the version we're doing is much, much older and more primal and kind of bestial. And so the why is just to sort of give it that odd sort of sense of it being from another time, another place, and spelled differently, as something that kind of denotes that they're not the witches normally. It's not necessarily, has nothing to do with female or being female or anything like that.
All right, very nice. We're looking forward to it. I don't know how you're going to do this and American Vampire, because that's coming back.
Yeah.
And then Superman and Batman and Batman Eternal.
Well, the Wake is 10 issues, and Sean and I are wrapping it up behind the scenes right now. And my first arc on Superman is 9, and I'm wrapping that up. So, and deciding what to do after that. So the hope is that I will have Batman, American Vampire, and then, some creator-owned on the side like this, and, maybe some other stuff if I can swing it.
All right, very nice. We're looking forward to it. Thanks a lot, Scott. It's always fun talking to you.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Comic Pine.